Hi, I'm Karin.
And I'm Elise,
Welcome back to Poodle People.
where we talk about all things poodles.
Just a friendly reminder that we're not licensed professionals, veterinarians, or handlers. We're just poodle people.
Hey, Elise.
Hey, Karin, how's it going?
Great. How about you?
It is going just peachy, thank you. What's going on? What's new? What's happening with the puppies?
Oh, it's a big week. So my first puppy went to its permanent home this evening. I've already gotten pictures, and Brown, who doesn't have a permanent name, was sleeping the entire way home, and he looked happy and content.
I'm glad he slept the whole way home. When he didn't, and we had a little accident. So I'm glad he slept all the way home. But that's
He,
awesome.
yeah, he had a short drive because he's pretty local. So that's awesome. But overall, it was a huge day and a very big week. We had a lot going on this week.
Yeah.
Um, Today, we had our last set of shots. So the puppies were weighed, dewormed, injected with their vaccinations, and then injected with their
Oh, the microchip.
yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mind blanking for a second. Yes. So they were all chipped as well. And, it was a long doctor's visit and a long drive. So they were all pretty tired. But this afternoon, the weather was just gorgeous. And we were able to spend a fair amount of time outside when they got home, which was great.
Aww.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a busy week coming up too.
Oh yeah. So you have 5 left. Are they going home this weekend?
So 3 of them are going home this weekend. One each day, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I haven't groomed them this week because first it was dry and then it was a chance of rain every day.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, um, and because we've been so dry, rain means mud.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to send them home clean and groomed and beautiful.
Oh.
Um, that's always a challenge when it's a threat of rain.
Yeah, and their puppies are gonna get into whatever they want. That's what they
Y-
do.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, that's so great. So they're 9 weeks this week. So they're going home at 9 weeks,
They're
right?
actually 10 weeks. I've been
They're 10?
miscounting. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, 10 weeks. That's
Yeah,
good.
I've been miscounting the entire time. I had a feeling I was off, but they were actually born in July.
That's
Um,
right.
yeah.
Oh, it's already been 10 weeks. Wow.
Yeah, unless I'm counting wrong again, but I think I'm actually right now.
Either
Uh,
way, I think it's nice to send them home like a little bit past 8 weeks. It kind of gives them a little bit more bite inhibition kind of training on each other, and you don't have to work quite so hard at it.
yeah, I definitely will keep my puppies for 10 weeks. Um, and it was tempting to try and keep some of them longer
Yeah.
because I like to see them change, and they go through some pretty dramatic changes. Um, but it's a good time. It's good for them to be going home, and they're all going to great homes. So I'm really pleased.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been really nice.
I hope the ones that are kind of local like meet up with you again. I think it'd be cool for you to be like see them at different stages of their like development as
I
like
def-
young dogs.
I definitely think I will. The person who took Brown Color home has already come to watch me and Alfred's show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So that's really nice that she and a friend of hers who does certifications for CGC and several other of the AKC tests. They both came to watch us show at the Bluegrass Classic. And they are Alfred fans, which is always nice to hear.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Oh, how fun. Oh, I'm excited for you. I can't
Yeah.
wait to hear more about it. Like, just as they grow up and you hopefully get more updates and stuff.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what everybody's naming them. She doesn't have a name, but I know the names of the others, so that's really exciting.
Oh, yeah. I like to, you know how like the AKC number has that, like, there's like a single or double digit at the very end. Winnie's is 5, so that means she was the 5th one in her litter.
Yeah.
And I knew there were 8 puppies, so I have definitely creeped on the AKC like dog database to see like what her siblings got named.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
But it is kind of fun to see. And like Carl's family adopted an older Great Dane, and you know they were like, oh yeah, his name's Biggie, but I crept on his little AKC number that was on his tag and learned his real name too. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a weirdo, but I think that part's kind of fun.
Yeah, no, I'm really into the names, so
Yes, you are the name nerd out of the two of us, I think. Your names are a lot more refined and beautiful, and I have Winnie the Poodle with an H in the middle.
I mean, I have, unusual names. They probably say a lot about me. I'm not sure if Ursula will get to keep her name, but her name, if I had been keeping her, was not just Ursula, it was Ursula von der Leyen. And that says a lot about me because there probably aren't that many people listening to this podcast who know who Ursula von der Leyen is. And that's not a slight to anyone. It's just, I'm a little bit obscure and,
I mean, you got your co-host there, because I also don't know who that is, but we are on different planes when it comes to interest on stuff outside of dogs.
Exactly. We meet on some things, and I understand your love for Taylor Swift. But
yeah,
but we are different generations.
We are, which is I think is a nice hot take, because you have
absolutely
someone like you got both sides of the conversation here. It's fun. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well,
so
cool.
Tank, it looks like Tank is keeping his name, which I'm really pleased about.
Oh.
And Orange Collar is going to be his call name will be Nimbus, and he will be Scotch Corner up in the clouds.
Cute. Okay, that's a great little Harry Potter reference. I'm not even a huge Harry Potter fan, but that is so cute. What a great name.
Yeah, I love it. And my black collar will be named Dimitri. I don't know if he gets his last name or if he'll just be Dimitri, but he's being named after Dmitri Shostakovich.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun. Yeah, the name thing is real fun. I like that part. It's exciting.
And the little girl that I'm keeping is Mary Cassatt, after the painter Mary Cassatt.
Oh, that's beautiful. I like that too.
Yeah, well, with Max Lieberman, I went with painters as well as with Alfred Seisley.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sticking with the Impressionists.
I like that. I like that all your boys are not, you know what I mean? Like the Impressionist thing versus, I think your girls are all Jane Austen, aren't they? With the exception of Grace.
Yes. And I'm breaking that tradition for Mary. Partly.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Well, I kind of thought that I would be keeping a black girl, so I had that name in mind.
Yeah.
And then Ursula is such an Ursula.
Oh, yeah.
So that's her name.
That's okay too.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's been a big week. I moved them out of the living room into the basement, into the shared space that I have downstairs for the dogs and kennels. Okay. And little by little, they've been getting separated and progressing with crate training. So tonight, I don't have enough kennels without using Alfred's, and I don't think that's fair to him. So 4 of the dogs are separate but can see each other, and 2 of them are paired up.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's been really nice. And I have to admit that it does feel pretty nice to have the house back to myself.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's a lot of dogs. It's a lot of mess. mess to clean up.
It's a lot to follow because they find things in corners underneath chairs that,
Oh,
they just find things.
stuff you didn't even know you had. It's like they're fabricating it and they're saying, "Look what I
Yes.
made." Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what did you and Winnie do this week?
This week. Well, we didn't do a lot this week. My work's gotten kind of busy, so I kind of just came home and crashed a little bit. But she and I went shopping together on Sunday. We went out here in Phoenix. There is a mall that has, I guess it would be kind of like a strip mall everywhere else, but it's an outside mall. And most of the stores are really dog friendly. And so Winnie usually comes with me when we go shopping there because it's fun. We took a friend and it was just like a girls' day. We all went shopping and it was really fun. So that was kind of her outing, and she likes it. She just kind of, we'll go try on clothes and stuff, and she'll just lay in the dressing room and watch me. Hopefully, not judging me and my outfit choices too much, but so that's kind of what we do. And my boyfriend he's not much of a fashionista, so he doesn't love to go with me. So it's nice when I can get a girlfriend to go, or like sometimes honestly, just me and Winnie will go, and it feels like a little girl's day. She's my best girly.
I'm really kind of jealous that you have so many places that you can take Winnie. We have more places that you can take dogs, but it's still
Yeah.
more, Lowe's and, places like that. There are places that don't prohibit dogs, but they don't seem like, I think they would,
Yeah.
Be shocked if I actually took a dog in there. Like,
I think out here it's a little bit different because
yeah, it sounds good.
it's hot and everything's already kind of outside.
Yeah.
So people, I think, are a little bit more forgiving. Now, I will say, if we see a service dog, or like if we get there and there's somebody in the store with a dog already, like I will go somewhere else and shop for a while, because I don't want I would never ever want Winnie to be a reason that a dog with a job is not able to do that job. But in general, she and I go and hang out, and this is just for these like outside malls. Like she never goes to the regular one. I don't really know how else to explain that, but it's like an outside mall, but it's kind of like a strip mall, I guess.
Yeah.
You guys kind of have something similar in Hamburg, where
Right.
it's kind of like that, but it's a little bit bigger, and it's just like all the like popular stores. Like there's an Anthropologie and a Sephora. Winnie doesn't go in the Sephora, but there's like an Anthropologie and a Sephora and like a Victoria's Secret, but it's all like outside facing, which is kind of neat. That's where we go. Yeah, that's where we go.
I think that Macy's is actually dog friendly, but that is one place that I don't think I would take Alfred without looks.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel dog friendly.
Winnie's pretty good. She, like, when I sit, like if I'm like looking through clothes, she'll just lay on the floor until we're going to the next spot. I didn't necessarily train her to do that. She's kind of done that since she was little, and I have always just rewarded the heck out of it because I think that's a nice behavior to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would totally take Alfred anywhere. I mean, he has been to many places and he shows and is a complete gentleman.
Yeah.
But it just seems like people would stare at me,
not
because he would be acting up, but because you don't often see dogs in Macy's,
even
though it's not prohibited.
We get a lot of people like, oh my gosh, it's a poodle, or oh my, like, they'll say, oh my gosh, but there's so many people with dogs that go to this area that it's like everybody has dogs, and there's apartments around there too, so people are always also walking their dogs there. So it's just a nice walk. There's usually misters on outside on the sidewalks when it's a little bit warm out, and but we're finally getting to that time of year where it's more comfortable to take Winnie more places, so hopefully that means we'll be doing more in the future, like in the next few months.
Yeah,
because it's not so uncomfortable for this sweet girl.
So this week we were going to talk about the Volhard puppy aptitude test.
Oh yeah.
Which I have done on my litters, and we were just going to talk a little bit about what the test is. I have to admit that I don't know. So I know Volhard as a dog nutrition company, and then I also know the Volhard puppy aptitude test. And I don't really know how the two things come from one company, but they seem to.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess one day I'll, Google and figure that out and learn more about that background. But the puppy aptitude test that Volhard has published and most people use um, is a predictor of, it's not exactly a predictor, but it kind of evaluates what your dog's reactions to different things are.
Yeah,
Right?
it's like a temperament test.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
So there are 10 different uh, exercises. And my dogs were 3s and 4s, but within that, there was variation. And I would say that Ursula had the least consistent numbers, which I think completely suits, that is completely accurate for Ursula's personality.
Yeah.
Um, on the flip side of that, Tank was the most solid. His reactions were exactly what I expected them to be.
Yeah.
And from the beginning, he has just been so confident and brave and interested in people and, all of those things.
Okay, gotcha.
Um, so actually, I am reading the Volhard introduction, and it says that these tests were developed in the 1930s for dogs to be guide dogs.
Oh, that's cool.
And then in the 50s, studies on puppies were done to determine how quickly they learned. So those kinds of things influenced this test.
That's pretty cool. I would work for that. I would put myself in on the payroll for that kind of research. That sounds neat.
Yeah. I would love to be doing it.
Yeah, I think we would both rather be doing dog stuff than our day jobs.
Absolutely. So do you know any of the tests, or should I refresh your memory?
I really don't know much about the Volhard test. I'd always heard about it. Winnie's breeder didn't do it, and I didn't know hardly anything when I was looking for a dog.
Right.
But I
Okay.
think it would be nice for our listeners to kind of go through like a brief
Yeah.
kind of overview of how it works, and then like how the scoring works on it.
So hopefully I've done justice to Volhard, and someone from the business doesn't listen to this and think, oh my gosh, she screwed this up. But hopefully I did it right. So I invited my neighbor over. It has to be done by someone who doesn't know the dog, so I couldn't do it.
Oh, okay.
And you take the dog to a new area. So we used my front yard, which is not fenced. So we did have to be a little bit careful, but I live on a very quiet street and we could have heard any cars that were coming. So it was completely safe.
Sure.
And it's not their backyard, which is, where they would be very comfortable. So you have a new person and you have a new environment. And then you do this series of tests. So the first one, so I did these in order of birth order because I can't think of the dogs in any other way. And I have to weigh them that way. It's just how my brain is organized in that way.
Yeah.
I know that I've done them all.
Yeah.
So the first one is social attraction, and it's the degree of social attraction to people, confidence, or dependence.
Okay.
And you place the puppy in the test area, and the tester, so just as a caveat and to explain things more thoroughly, I did choose the neighbor who did this. She is a nurse and she has dogs, cats, and horses.
Oh,
So
okay.
she's very skilled with animals, and I think her work with patients means that she has this really lovely manner with animals. So she's
Yeah.
not at all threatening, but she's also in control of things.
Yeah, even keeled.
Yes. So the tester coaxes the puppy to her by clapping her hands and kneeling down. The tester must coax in a direction away from the point where it entered the testing area. So we have the whole yard, and most of my puppies came readily tailed down, which is a 4.
Okay.
Um, so, I guess came readily tail up would be better, but they certainly came readily.
Yeah.
And they didn't know her, so a little bit of hesitation doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, she's a stranger. You don't want your kids just running up to strangers.
Right, exactly. So part number 2 is following. So the tester stands up and slowly walks away, encouraging the pup to follow by lightly clapping their hands and using verbal encouragement. Make sure the puppy sees you walk away. Obviously, the puppy could see her, and the puppies, all of them, did really well on this, and they followed readily.
Aw.
Then you do one for restraint, and you roll the puppy on its back and hold it with one hand for 30 seconds. You don't hold it with pressure, but you hold it just so that it can't move. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And this is to test the degree of dominance or submission and stress in a dominant position.
Gotcha.
All of my dogs got 5, no struggle.
Okay.
So in my opinion, I think that's the best one. There is one, depending on what you're looking for, if you want a show dog, if you want a pet, or if you want a service dog, you might want slightly different responses to this. But
Yeah.
I personally would like no struggle.
Well, that makes sense because we have some that struggle a little bit with the grooming arena. So to
Yeah,
have no struggle would be kind of nice.
right.
Okay. That's kind of cool.
So the next one is social dominance, and the puppy's allowed to stand up or sit, and the tester gently strokes him from the head to see how he reacts. So almost all of my puppies licked at her hands. So some of them cuddled right up to her and licked her face. Mine were not the exact answers. So most of them, so the responses are jumped, pawed, bit, growled. Obviously, none of my dogs did that. Jumped,
Okay.
pawed, none of my dogs did that either. But then they were not quite exactly the other answers either. So
Okay.
most of them, the next one is cuddled up to tester and tries to lick face, then squirmed, licked at hands, rolled over, licked at hands, or went away. And mine were more cuddled up to tester or rolled over, or different things like that. I don't think I had any squirm at all.
Okay. Yeah.
And then after that, there's elevation dominance. So she picked the dog up and held it underneath its belly, and just elevated it off the ground. So this is the degree of acceptance that the dog has to not being in control. And again, mine were no struggle, relaxed.
Gotcha. Okay.
I will say, I think I only had one retriever. The next one,
I think that's all my dog is. I don't.
yeah. It is interesting. Like, I do realize that I don't throw balls often enough with my dogs because they have no idea what this is. So I think it's more my failing than my dog.
Gotcha.
But I did have one that was a very good retriever, and I'd have to look through to figure out who it was. But someone had a strong retrieving instinct. But basically, she crumples up paper and tosses it, and you wait to see, does the dog go after it? Does the dog ignore it? And then what does the dog do with it? So one of the dogs did bring it back. So I'm looking at Mary's, and she did not chase the. She is my girl. I cannot, pretend anything other.
Well, good to know she'll fit right in with the others.
So Ursula did return the object to the tester.
Okay.
And oh, I lied. So 2 people did, Tank and Ursula.
Okay. So
Yes.
the 2 black puppies then.
Yes. And then my puppy Dimitri, who had the black collar, he did chase the object, but he didn't return. But I can attest to the fact that I have video of him chasing the ball, and he has figured it out. So he could make a retriever yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a little structure.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So if he has a new family that throws balls and remembers to throw balls, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Mary will, not. Poor Mary.
That's okay. Mary's going to be okay, I think.
I do have to remember this is such an easy thing to play with your dogs, and I just don't do it somehow. So
you can honestly, Karin, you could probably get one of those like short arm chuckets and sit on your porch with your evening sparkling water and throw the tennis balls for the dogs from the porch.
It's not. It's just that they haven't learned that they should chase it, so they're not even looking for it.
Oh, well.
Yeah, so
that's a little different.
I have worked with Alfred, and Alfred will chase something, but he doesn't bring it back. And the girls just look at me like, "What are you doing?"
Like, why would we do that?
Right. I'm 6. I really don't need to play this game. So it is definitely something better learned early.
Yes, got it. Okay.
So anyone in the audience, get your dog started right and play fetch, throw balls.
Yes.
So then next we have touch sensitivity, where you basically put pressure on the puppy's foot, on the pads of the foot, to push the webbing a little bit to see how long you can push before they try to pull their foot away. And all of mine got 2 to 3 seconds. I don't really know what that means. It's, so they are sensitive to touch, but I also can groom all of them and groom in between their toes. So, those are kind of mixed messages to me in terms of what that meant. Especially with a poodle, they get used to being handled. So I'm not sure how I would use that one as something that I could work on in my daily life, because they're fine.
Yeah, like you're gonna end up working with it anyway. I mean,
yeah,
I guess like even like Winnie hates having her feet groomed. It's like really, she's gotten a lot better, but I mean, you helped me groom her the first time. She was not pleasant. But I think like, for those things, like you really just have to handle them all the time to get them used to that. So they're, I mean, it'd be nice to get one that was like a longer count right out of the gate, but I feel like that's kind of a unicorn.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Yeah. So sound sensitivity is the next test. And this one, none of the puppies really liked this, but to me, this makes sense. Was that Winnie?
Yeah. My little velociraptor is right next to me, and
she
just wanted to let you know she was here and tired of me working on this podcast. She wants to go hang out.
Yeah. So we took a stainless steel pot outside with a big spoon, and we wrapped it a couple of times, or well, she did, not me.
Yeah.
And most of my dogs were listens, locates sound, but were not thrilled with it.
Yeah, so, I wouldn't be either.
Yeah. It definitely is something where they were like, okay, this is weird. Why are you doing this? And they recognized it as something that could be a potential risk, I think.
Yeah.
Or something to be concerned about.
Okay.
None of them were cringing or anything like that, but
they're like, what is that?
Right. They were like, should we be on alert? It's kind of like a horse when it lifts its head, or when a group of horses lift their heads and they're like, something is off. Do we run or not?
Yeah. What's the consensus here? Like, do we panic or nah? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's neat.
Yeah.
Let's see. I pulled up the list too. So it looks like the next one is sight sensitivity. Is that right?
Yes, so I have to admit that I forgot to bring something. Um, so I had to do this myself, but I don't think any of my dogs are blind, but I don't have good results for this.
Okay, gotcha. And
Yes.
then let's see. The last one looks like it's stability. Is that the last one?
Yep.
Is that oh, there's not that many. Okay.
So we used an umbrella for this one. And this one, I did have mixed results. I'm looking at Mary's, and she did run away from the umbrella.
Okay. Well,
Purple ran to the umbrella and bit it.
oh,
So I have a 1 and a 6.
she said not today.
Yeah. Tank sat and looked at the umbrella and considered it. And like a horse, wondered, is this something? But he sat there pretty quietly and was interested in it.
Okay.
Dimitri walked to the umbrella and smelled it cautiously. Orange did the same. He smelled it cautiously. And then Brown, let's see what Brown did. Oh, he ran away too.
So nice variety pack you've got going on there.
Yep.
For that one, is the umbrella open or closed, or like how do you present it to them?
Oh, you open it, and the idea is that it will pop open and make an umbrella noise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're this is also a test in the CGC, the Canine Good Citizen Test.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the exact same thing. So
okay, yeah.
Sometimes in CGC they might do something other than the umbrella. I think for one of our practice tests, they threw things on the ground to see what the startle rate was instead of opening an umbrella. But I think the umbrella is the more standard test.
Yeah, I think for Winnie's, they may have like dropped a clipboard or something. I
Yeah.
don't think they had an umbrella. I don't think anybody has an umbrella out here, to be honest with you. But I
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it now. That might be why there is not one. That's neat. What a neat test to see. Like, what a nice way to quantify like your puppy's temperament.
It really is fun. And the neighbor who did it is such a sport and loved the puppies. And I think she enjoys interacting with them and, seeing the different reactions. It's really quite interesting. They are overall a really nice, well-balanced group, but they had a lot of different individual variation.
That's really cool. So how do you, so I'm looking at this. It looks like every reaction has like a score, like a numeral score. So do you just take the average of those, or do you just mark them down and kind of just look and see?
So I made a little chart to see how we did. Like how so I would say that Mary and Purple probably had the most variation in numbers. So if I read it correctly, you try to see what your pattern is and what you have the most of.
Gotcha.
And Mary and Purple are kind of all over the board for different things.
Yeah.
Tank was my most consistent dog. And then all of the others were probably solid 3s. And had that as the most consistent score. Mary and Purple were, or Mary and Ursula definitely had the most variation. I was not surprised with Ursula. I was a little bit surprised with Mary because she's such a doll with me and I'm looking forward to showing her tremendously. But I also look at things from a show perspective, I think. So
yeah, well, it's such a unique environment, I feel like, than just like somebody's home.
Yes. And Alfred does not have his CGC, but he could do his CGC and his CGCU and probably whatever is next just because
Right.
he has been shown,
Yeah. He's
we do
got a lot of those
things,
things
and
under his belt.
yeah, even though we haven't actually taken the test and passed the test, I know that I can leave him on a table and he will stay on a table.
Yeah, and, you can have somebody else groom him. He obviously gets touched and handled by other people all the time, like judges
Absolutely.
and stuff. So I
Yes.
mean, that's half the test.
Yeah.
So,
So, you do think of things differently, and when you are showing a dog, it just gets such different exposures. Um, and you do want a dog that has some spark. So you're really looking at different things sometimes.
yeah, I kind of want to see if somebody will do this test with Winnie. I don't even know if you could do it. Can you do a test like this with adult dogs? I'm just curious to see what she would score.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's any. I think the idea is that you would use it to help you choose a puppy or to
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of evaluate, but you could do it. It's really similar to the CGC, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's how is this dog reacting to its environment and to you?
Which is important. And I I think it's neat that you did this, and I'm sure your puppy owners appreciate it, kind of having an idea of what they might be getting into
Yeah,
with each
yeah.
of their new little treasures.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun talking about things with them and just doing the test and seeing, are they acting with my neighbor the way that they've acted with me,
Yeah.
and they behave in kind of ways that um, seem consistent. And they did, in general. Ursula is a complete live wire. She's a spark. She's just a lot of dog in 12 pounds. She's just adorable.
Oh,
Um, so her reactions were completely spot on. She has very distinct opinions about things.
I feel that. I like Ursula. Me too.
Uh, I love Ursula.
Oh,
As you know, I really wanted to keep Ursula, but I made the decision to keep Mary.
gotcha.
Um, it was tough.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, well, and I don't know. It's one of those things where like, you it's so hard to choose between things like that because first of all, they're so cute and they're so happy and they're little and adorable, and then you gotta make those tough decisions.
Yeah. And I wanted a black female. That's what I
Yeah,
wanted for my breeding program. And then I had to really look at both of them and evaluate them and try and make the decision that was better for my breeding program rather than just getting a black female.
yeah, I get that.
Um, yeah. So it's been a tough, challenging past 2 weeks in that
Yeah,
sense. But overall, it's just been lovely. These dogs are wonderful.
it's fun to hear you talk about them like litter to litter because I remember your first litter and you've learned a lot
I,
about
yeah.
puppy rearing and kind of what you're looking at and what to look for, and it's like the way you talk about them has evolved, and that's been kind of interesting, and I've learned a lot because I like to hear about it.
Yeah.
So it's been a fun journey.
It really has been an incredible learning experience. Um, I have been really lucky to have good mentors. As you know, I read a lot. I have access to a Research One library and read a lot of peer reviewed journals about dogs or books. So I am constantly reading anything I can. And I also joined Leading Edge Dog Show Academy, and it is not just grooming, there's a lot about breeding and dog raising and all kinds of things that really have influenced me and made me a much better breeder. And I do take it seriously. It's kind of interesting because sometimes I will get queries from people and they're like, oh, yeah, I want to get into breeding. And I'm like, oh, that's the kind of thing that worries me because I take it so seriously and I don't think it's something that you just kind of wander into.
Yeah. It's a lot of
For
work.
me, yeah, and to do it well, you know, it takes years. I owned Max, Lieberman, Jane, and all of my dogs for years before I was ready to breed. And then when I was ready to breed, I didn't breed right away. I had to learn a lot. I had to get all of the health testing done. You know, there's a
Yeah.
lot to be done before you are breeding, or you are just a backyard breeder. But if you really care about standard poodles and want to preserve the best qualities of the breed and um, help educate people, you have to spend the time learning all of that information yourself so that you can do the right thing and then also help people understand what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, you're doing the right thing by the breed, and you're doing the right thing by the people who are getting involved with your breed. You're trying to start them out on the best foot possible, and you're trying to produce like good dogs. They're going to have a good, healthy, long life, which is
Yes.
important.
Yep. And this week they are all off to their new homes.
I can't wait for you to get updates as they get older. Like I said earlier, like I just think that's cool.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
going to be really nice.
I know Winnie's breeder follows me on like Instagram, and we'll like see in her little updates and stuff throughout her life, and I think that's kind of a fun way to connect with people. So maybe they'll be like my millennial self and make an Instagram for their dog. Who knows?
Well, Tank already has an Instagram.
Stop it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to follow him because I need to know
Yes.
what he's all about. I think I followed all of your puppies. If their owners have Instagrams, like I know one from the last like litter was a groomer, so I followed her. I don't know.
Yeah.
I grew up. I hear their whole lives before they get to these people, and I wanna know about it too.
It is a really nice connection. I know Jane has always told me that she stays in touch. You know, she's been in touch for decades with people. And it really is one of the nicest things. You have so much impact on people's lives when you give them a puppy and entrust that puppy to them.
Yeah.
And it's really a lovely thing to know that one of your puppies will become such a treasured part of someone's life.
Like you told me, a standard poodle will change your life, and they do.
I did tell you that.
You
I
did tell
stand
me
by
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's kind of what we swear by here on
Yep.
Poodle People. But that's really cool. I'm excited. I'm excited for you to get your house back. I'm excited for them to get their families and see their journeys. I think that'll be really neat.
Yep.
Oh, cool. Well, thanks for sharing all of that. I think that's nice. I think this is a nice little touch.
Yeah. And next week we should have a very fantastic guest. So do tune in. We will have a promo out on Monday for this special guest, but I really am looking forward to that. We won't say who it is, but it should be really exciting.
We like a little mystery. It is spooky season after all.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, well, I hope everybody has a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, and remember, a poodle will change your life. If you'd like to get in touch with either me or Elise, or if you have questions you'd like answered during the podcast, email poodlepeoplepodcast@gmail.com. And if you have questions or want to be put on my wait list for puppies, please visit my website at scotchcornerstandardpoodles.com.